This was scary. My 7-year-old asked me, does ChatGPT have feeling?
Core parenting challenges.
Says, Mom, it knows my favorite color and it's always nice to me.
Kindness just sounds like kindness, right?
Something can be useful without being alive. Something can sound caring without actually caring.
So, today we're talking about how AI is changing daily life, our work, school, parenting, and how we prepare ourselves and the next generation without panicking and without pretending that nothing is changing. Hi, I'm Neha, the co founder of Chocolate and Spice Talk, an initiative that highlights diverse issues from a progressive and optimistic lens.
Hey everyone, I'm Nidhi, the co founder of Chocolate and Spice Talk.
And even though I've spent over 20 years in technology and business, and I've seen so many ups and downs, so many pivots and changes throughout, AI is really something else.
And same for me. And I think that is why we picked this topic, right? We wanted to do this episode on the realities of AI impact. We wanted to be upfront with everybody. We are not pretending we have all the answers. Nobody does.
But we do have a lens. We are two sisters, we're both engineers, both MBAs, and combined we have more than 35 years of work in technology, and we've seen all the waves of technology come and go.
And this one certainly feels different. I am bringing the practical lens, the techno-optimist lens, if I may say so myself. And I use AI every day. I'm building products in a world where everybody's asking how to become AI native. I'm experimenting a lot at home and at work. I'm raising a 7-year-old who is growing up in a world where AI is just normal.
Yeah, and I'm bringing the philosophical lens. For example, what happens when machines can write and analyze and pretend to think and feel like humans do, and even sound emotionally intelligence? So, in those scenarios, what stays uniquely human? And how do we use AI without sort of stopping our own thinking and cognitive abilities?
All right, so let's just get into it. All right, so let's start with work because that's where most adults feel it the first, like jobs, careers, skills, resumes, college degrees, all of it suddenly feels like it's being questioned, right?
Oh, 100%. And my son is in college third year, and we definitely keep having this discussion a lot. And every generation thinks its technology is the big one. If you remember, like when you and I started with our engineering, software engineering was a really big hype, and we were all into it. And of course, in the past, we've had printing press, electricity, cars, internet, you name it. However, I will say that AI kind of feels different because uh, most other technologies extended our body some way, like made life simpler for us, made it easier on our bodies, really just made things faster, from a physical perspective. AI seems to be extending our brain.
Yeah, exactly. Like writing, analyzing, summarizing, designing, coding, planning, organizing, communicating, all of this is what corporate work is, right? And now AI can do pieces of that work. Not perfectly, certainly not reliably, because everybody's, but it's doing enough that everybody is actually paying attention to it. And as a
Yes.
product manager, I see this daily. A lot of companies that I see right now is what they're calling sprinkling AI phase. So they're adding summarizing here, a copilot there, a chatbot somewhere there. And honestly, it's certainly not magic yet. It breaks, it hallucinates, users get confused. We spend so much time thinking about the UX, the trust, the workflow, the customer journey, the guardrails at the model itself. The real work, I think, is starting this year,
I know.
2026.
Exactly. I know. Yeah. Good reminder. It's 2026. I keep forgetting. But yeah, the interesting thing is, the hype makes it sound like AI itself is the product. And that makes us forget that AI is something that helps us get better. It helps other products get better, right? So if you have a bad workflow or a bad product and you sprinkle AI on top, it is still bad.
That's true. So you would say, what would you say is AI native? Would you say AI native is adding a chatbot?
No, AI native is truly understanding, first of all, how AI works and how AI can really enhance experience. For example, if a certain experience or a certain product were designed from scratch in an AI world, what would we do differently, right? Questions like, what are humans deciding? What's AI deciding? Who is using? Because we could have AI agents using those products or humans using those products. So, like the 80/20 rule, who's using? Is it AI more or is it humans more? And that's okay. We'll have to just figure out the plan on that. and what are the areas or what are the decisions that AI should never touch, right? How should we be as transparent as possible that this was done by AI versus this was done by humans or this is reviewed by humans? Like, those are really important, mature conversations that we need to have as we get AI native, because if we don't, then we will have created far more disruption that will need a lot of work to undo.
That's absolutely true. And I hope everybody doing this is thinking about this.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there is the job market side, right? There are three numbers that I carry around with me. The first is Anthropic CEO Dario Amodi. He had warned that AI could eliminate half of entry level white collar jobs within the next 1 to 5 years, with unemployment possibly rising to 10 to 20%. Second is Jensen Huang from NVIDIA framed it very differently, and I like that framing much better. And he said that most people will not lose job to AI itself. They may lose job to somebody who uses AI. And third is World Economic Forum 2025 Future of Jobs report gives a macro level. And what it said is 170 million new jobs were created and 92 million displaced by 2030, with a net gain of 78 million jobs. And that sounds very hopeful at like a macro level. But net positive doesn't really comfort the person who is displaced, right? Like averages hide pain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, averages doesn't really help anybody feel any better, right? It probably does fear mongering, but doesn't make you as a person feel better. So the practical playbook is not everyone should start learning code tomorrow. It should be become a centaur.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know what that is, so help me understand.
Yeah, so centaur model comes from chess. The idea was after computers, became better than humans at chess. The proposal that was put forward was potentially if humans and AI could combine, they'd be more powerful than either alone. And that idea that together it can be more powerful than either alone can be applied to almost every job, right? Because that's how we would want to leverage AI. So, for example, the best designer cannot just be AI, right? It has to be a designer, a human designer who uses AI for first drafts, potentially for blank paper problem, and then applies iterations, learnings, tastes, and just builds excitement and engagement. Similarly, the best marketeer will not just be AI. It is somebody who can generate options really, really quickly and then know exactly which idea actually lands and uses AI for that. Same thing with product management, as of course you know, it cannot just be AI alone. AI cannot be a product manager. It has to be a human PM who knows how to use AI to analyze, summarize, explore, and still bring judgment. So what AI has been doing is making all of these jobs and all of these people's work more, efficient in the sense that they can get a lot of information, a more richer information, and then they can apply their own learning and their knowledge and their experience and their judgment on top of it, thereby making the same product without AI would have been a certain level, making that same product go to another level. That's what
Exactly.
AI.
Yeah. And I see this firsthand. And I think the way I take it is the skill is not competing with AI, it's learning how to work with it, like human plus AI. And that's a model.
Yeah, and this is where we as family of engineers uh, become humanity's evangelist on how to use AI in a human-centered way.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I also feel, I don't know how you feel about that. I feel taste is a new currency, right? Like taste, judgment, communication, critical thinking. These are not soft skills. These, if you remember, a couple of years back, we used to write that in a resume as soft skill. They are not soft skill anymore. They are actually like survival skills.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, those areas of our life and of our learning that we would often not take very seriously, for example philosophy, I think that becomes even more important now because philosophy has always taught you to ask questions, and that is even more important now. Ask questions of AI. Like, I am so passionate about this idea that you should not just take what somebody tells you, AI or not AI, but particularly AI because it's based on a lot of things, a black box that we truly don't understand. So you have to question AI, and AI is very smart. It'll actually give you answers. So use the philosophical angle to it. History has been great to us because it has taught us so many things from the past. So lean into history and learn from history. literature and just art, that teaches us empathy, that teaches us to be connected, that teaches us to care. Because the thing with AI that's being hyped up heavily is, oh, AI means speed, AI means efficiency. Humans can never reach the speed, and that is a fact. Humans can never reach the speed. And so what? So what? Like, what is all the speed going to do in the world if we are not able to really live it and enjoy it and feel it? And so that nuance of really being human and being able to take care and spending that time is important. So I think that is my one fear. Like, we shouldn't lose that touch in our real rat race for efficiency.
Yeah, I totally agree. But AI fluency is becoming like computer literacy. Whether we like it or not, we
Yeah.
are getting there. So I think we don't have to become AI engineers. I never think we all need to do that. But we cannot stay AI illiterate and expect the world to slow down. The world
Oh,
is moving.
100%.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I picked AI at the very least too. Like, when as soon as ChatGPT came out, that's when I picked AI. I've been using generative AI and AI tools for first 2 or 3 years now, and so my suggestion would be, it is important for all of us at this point to definitely at least pick a tool, right? Use is it ChatGPT? Now we have so many other options. We have Claude, we have Gemini. You just use it every day in various ways. Use it to draft emails or plan something or research something, to brainstorm, to just chat, to summarize, to ask it questions or make decisions. Like, the thing is, it is better to understand and use it now, when things are still relatively nascent, than having been forced to become fluent in that in the future.
absolutely. All right, let's move on to our next segment, which is education. And I wanted to give a few examples. And one of them, top of my mind, is Peter Deng, is a product leader at OpenAI. And he wanted to teach his 9-year-old son something. And he said he watched his 9-year-old son's brain actually rewire when he got access to ChatGPT. And the story he shared in a product podcast is completely shifted how I think of all of this. So his son uses ChatGPT to ask things that have been nearly impossible to code traditionally. So one prompt that Peter brought up was, "Give me a sentence that has every letter in the alphabet along with this theme of space." Right? I mean, this is something that's really hard to program to write in Python, but his kid could think of a prompt, and then he built a custom GPT that generated those sentences on any topic. So that
Wow,
is
I'm still
quite,
processing that.
yeah, I mean, that's a curiosity. You are curious. It's hard to code, but we have these tools to be creative. So why not? So it's absolutely mind blowing, right? And Peter's point is that his son is probably not going to code to work, right? Coding is changing very fast. We both are seeing it. But coding teaches you how to think structurally, systemic thinking, breaking big problems into smaller ones, being precise. And now AI rewards the same precision. It's being applied to asking the right questions instead of writing the right code. So the skill shifts, but the thinking muscle stays. I think that's the goal.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's what happens with every technology, right? A certain technology comes and we think, oh my gosh, we have calculator, but we learned to divide and add and subtract. And now what? We're going to forget all of that. But what actually happened was calculator just extended our abilities. So we could now think at the next level, do more. And so probably, and when Google came, like, we were so used to researching with a bunch of different books and in our own way, and Google just made it so much simpler. And that actually helped a lot of people in various ways, which is beyond the topic of conversation for today, but it definitely helped us get more efficient and get more knowledgeable. And I think it's the same, right? Like, code was this very difficult thing to do. You needed to study so hard to be able to code. And now, well, it is much simpler. You can use natural language to be able to code and a lot of other processes thanks to AI. So maybe now we have all of this space left in our brain where we could start imagining, what are we going to do next, right? And what are those skills? Those skills could get into philosophy, into understanding who we are, into consciousness, into just creativity and judgment, and even the next level of abstraction about our lives, which is, we almost never think we have the time to do that, but now we have so much time. We are forced into it.
Exactly. And I want to give an example. Like, I You know how much I listen to podcasts, and I have so many subscriptions of newsletter, and every morning I have the top AI news that I have to ingest. It's part of my job too, but it was not possible for me to ingest it the way it was given to me. Like I had no bandwidth to go over the email. So I literally created a way to ingest all of them in a readable way. And all of this was possible because of AI. I would not have thought that I can prompt Claude or anything and create like a beautiful website that is connected to my email, and it picks the top emails that I wanted to and creates a beautiful newspaper like UI that gives me all the things I'm looking for instead of me struggling to find things in my
Hmm.
Gmail. So what I'm trying to say, it now I have the ability to make things my own the way I want it,
Yeah.
and make like that knowledge so much more useful for me, like personalized to me, which is again a game changer, which I feel.
100%. I think technology is a great enabler. It is a great enabler. You and I have seen it. So much information, particularly for us as women, where we were told about certain things to do a certain way. Even social media, which I know gets a bad rep, but if used correctly, it has opened our mind and opened our understanding of what we can do, which would have been harder had we been constrained within the same framework. And the same for any kind of knowledge. Like if you want to climb in your career or reach a certain place, it was so hard to understand what is it that you really need to do to become a leader or to become XYZ. And now it's so much simpler. All you have to do is search, you're going to get the answer. You don't have to run around, buy a bunch of courses, or like wait for that time. You can be very proactive. So it is absolutely a great enabler and very democratic, right? Like it has democratized information.
That is amazing. That's one of the strength I feel. And on the topic of education, I did want to share the framework that I'm using with my 7-year-old son, Vikram. So the framework is that the machine handles repetition and feedback, and human handles curiosity and character, right? So some of the non-negotiables we have at home is paper before screen. So before Vikram uses AI to create anything, obviously he does that when I'm sitting beside him. He has to think first. He has to write down, he has to draw, he has to sketch it. So, what do you want to make? What are the characters? What's a story? No outsourcing critical thinking, right? I mean, I think we have talked about this.
Mhm.
Yeah, that helps. And then I don't want him to grow up thinking that I have a vague idea, like I have a half baked idea, and I'll let AI finish it. I don't want him to do that. I don't even at this age I don't even want him to know that's an option. I want him to use his own imagination, and AI comes after thinking, not instead of thinking. So that has been like really helpful in the way we are thinking and how I'm introducing AI in his life.
That's amazing. That's a great way to approach it so that he understands that AI is an enabler.
Mhm.
AI helps him become smarter and more powerful, but he has to do the job. He has to continue doing it within himself. I think there is a strong potential the next generation kids will become far more mature, stronger thinking beings than say we had been, because he will have like if all this access to this knowledge and information is provided correctly, they have far more option to evolve way better than we did, way faster.
I thought I was the techno-optimist. No,
Oh, I
just
am absolutely a techno optimist. Like, I am a huge believer in technology. I have lived and breathed technology for what, 21 years or more. But I want, no matter what the technology, if your eyes are not wide open to its impact, positive or negative, every single thing has a positive and negative impact. And if we don't talk about the negative impact, then we become like blindly enslaved to it. And anytime you're blindly enslaved to anything, it's bad for us. So I just want to make sure I get a full, or in this podcast, of course, I'm giving sort of more philosophical lens, but I actually use AI all the time. And I want to make sure that I do it in a very balanced manner.
Mhm. Yeah, and same with Vikram, like exactly what you said. With him, my other framework is co-create, don't delegate. So I just don't give him access to any of the AIs like ChatGPT and say, go play. So that doesn't happen. Obviously, we always sit together. He's too young to have it by himself. And he drives. I ask questions. Why did you do that? What was your thinking? Do you think the answer is right? Do you trust it? Did you check it? What did it miss? How could you prompt better? So he understands the concept of prompting, and that is in English language, how do I tell computer to do something? So it's like clarity of thought. Like if you don't know what you want, there is nobody who can help you to do anything, right? That is like the basic that I think everybody should understand, irrespective of the age.
100%. Like this is where it really hits the nail, which is you have to know what you want.
Mhm.
You have to understand what is the output you're looking for. In general, it can get refined and changed over time, but that's the only way. It's like if I were talking to you to get help, I have to know where I want to go with that help. That's how you can treat AI. And for a kid to be able to understand that difference is important because right now we're seeing AI in a machine. So it still feels like it's a machine, right? You're typing something or talking to it as prompt. Tomorrow they could be humanoid robots, which would have AI installed. And while they may not look completely like humans, especially digitalized versions can look like humans. But if you're going to have true humanoid robots, they are they might physically be able to do a lot of the things that we humans do. And then the differences will start getting more and more blurred. So this understanding or the foundation of this understanding is so critical.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing that I'm really trying to help him understand is celebrate human relationship. Like he does karate with his coach and friends, and baking with me, Legos with Papa. And over the weekend he does math with his nani, that is grandma, reading, gardening. So all of this thing gives him an inner life, and no AI can give him the inner life. So I think that is very important. Like emotional intelligence is something I'm really pushing for. Like everybody's pushing for, but in this world of how things are changing, I think that is one of the key ingredients of what you can embed in a child's mind.
Absolutely, because that is what our intelligence is, right? Like human intelligence is a lot about lived in experience,
Mhm.
lived in experience. So we are really feeling it and living it. And through some interesting phenomena in our brain and our psyche, we're able to use that to be able to respond. That's something AI doesn't do. So AI can be very smart, but doesn't have lived in experience. So it has a different kind of intelligence. But that does make me question, what are the skills children will have to be taught in school? For example, coding was an interesting area where you had to move into engineering or pick a subject about coding and then learn. But would anybody even need to do that anymore?
Oh God. Well, remember, I only have a 7-year old, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to this, but what I'm thinking right now is yes. And the reason is I'm not saying Vikram is going to be in like a computer science track right now, but coding is going to be like algebra. It's like you probably won't use the syntax every day, but you will use the muscle to build it, like lodging, sequencing, breaking up a messy thing into smaller testable steps, debugging your own thinking. Like that's like the generalist skill, not a career path. It's the same reason why Mike Krieger, who scaled Instagram, he did it with generalists first. So he hired passionate generalists early on because they could learn fast across domain and then specialize later only when they had to. So I think that thought process certainly helps.
Yep, yep. And all of this builds to the fact that we shouldn't lose our diverse thinking, our diverse personalities, and just our diverse taste. Like taste is essentially a combination of how you are, like what your own skills you were born with, what you are surrounded with, and what you absorbed and learned. And if we do not ensure that happens, everybody will look the same, everybody will behave the same, everybody will see the same thing, which is a very, very boring world to live in.
Yeah, because I think we have talked about it a lot because AI can generate like 1,000 version of anything. Like it's like story opening, a logo, like thousands and thousands, like no scarcity, but it doesn't know which one really matters to your specific teacher or your specific user or your specific brand. So choosing muscle is what you're calling taste. That is what is so important. Like building it by consuming excellent work on purpose. Like not reading 100 books but reading good quality books, like looking at beautiful designs. Like I consume a lot, but then I also have a difference between this is good design, this is bad design, this is good user journey, this is bad user journey. And that's how you train your intuition. At least that's what I'm doing. Hopefully it'll work. So
And you're absolutely spot on. That's how you train yourself. And the beauty of doing that is our personalities shine in there, and our own specific personalities add another angle to it, thereby ensuring world will always be full of diverse ideas and diverse tastes. I mean, The thing is, like, we, and already it's happening on social media as I hear it. There are AI generated everything that's on social media because that's the easiest place you can influence. And then even, we will have jobs, like there are job markets already created which are literally for AI only jobs. In fact, AI have started to hire humans, like things like that have already started happening. You could have all kinds of things designed that were actually designed by AI could even be sold by AI. So all of that is happening. But what is important is over time, we will all wonder, well, is there a human touch? It's the same thing about customization and personalization. Like, look at how we talk about, oh, this is haute couture, this is custom, this was hand done, and the price is like 10 times. A scaled factory produced thing, and that just shows like over time people start craving that human touch, because what does it show? It does not show that things are any better made. It just shows somebody cared, somebody loved you, somebody put attention, somebody touched it. Just these things that we as human ultimately crave no matter what else is given to us.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is what will have a lot of value moving forward in this world. And one thing else, as optimistic as a mom I am, like I'll very strongly feel that AI finally will be able to make like one-on-one tutoring like financially or economically feasible. Like Vikram is in the 2 hour program or alpha school program, which is a 2 hour learning, and it's not magic. It's just adaptive practice that meets you where you are. Like when we were in school, we didn't have this luxury. Everybody's in the same grade, whether you are better or worse. We didn't have this, but now kids can have it, and AI can make it happen. So the thing is, if he's 92% on fraction, it pushes. If he is like 50 in grammar, it slows down.
Mm.
So that's historically usually only wealthy or well-to-do families could afford, like private tutor. But I just feel so optimistic that AI will be able to collapse that cost. So personalization will stop becoming luxury, and I think that's one of the value that AI will add. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. It can meet you at your pace, at your level, no matter who you are. And how empowering is that
Yeah,
when used correctly? And I'm so glad. Like, I know the school that Vikram is in, and we have talked to, how
Laura.
Laura and how the curriculum was made. But that is great because at its nascent stage, you're capturing those points and you're ensuring you're building thoughtfully towards something that is going to be inevitable. And that, like, it already has a leg up, and then Vikram already has a leg up. So that's absolutely optimistic.
All right. Do you want to move on to your favorite segment?
Would that be creativity?
Yeah, identity and creativity.
Yeah. And I think, like, going back, and I tried to cover it earlier, but going back to the idea of one of the potentially strangest things that we see AI do unexpectedly well is that it can create things. So it can write poetry well. It can produce art. By art, I mean it can show images. It can even produce music, and all of that can feel baffling and awe-inspiring at the same time, because we're like, how did the machine create this beautiful melody, potentially with lyrics and a voice added that's singing correctly so quickly in microseconds? Because for us humans it's going to take days or months depending upon our skills level, and that's baffling. And then you get scared because you're like, wait, what am I even going to do? Yes, I'm a singer, I'm a musician, I write poems or I create art. What's the point? There is no way I will ever match the speed and efficiency because the output looks almost the same. And that is a very challenging thing for people who work in the creative field, because what is your identity? Just like we talked about the knowledge worker, the people at the corporate level doing, like their jobs, feeling like they cannot be as efficient. It's the same thing for the creative world, where you could not have imagined this is possible. But then think about what camera or what photography did to painting. Painting was always the only mode where you could duplicate a certain emotion or a certain scene or a certain person. That was literally the only way you could have those portraits. Then came camera, and camera could take photographs of everything to the more or less as much accuracy as you could, and very, very quickly, like literally a second. And then what were those painters going to do? Well, those painters evolved. We had amazing, beautiful, abstract art that truly talked about your feelings, your emotions, and enabled you to question it and think about it. Like, that's what art is. Art is really not like getting an answer, like, yeah, A plus B is equal to C. No, it does not give you a quick answer. It makes you ponder, what is A, what is B, what does plus mean? Should it be equal to C? Should it be AB? Should it be, I don't know, A square B? Like, those are the things that get triggered by art. And so every human is still able to create in their own way their own art. And that could mean, like, imagine the freedom it gives you, because now art is non undefined. Because the typical formal art could be created by AI in no time. So then you can create whatever you want.
But let me ask you this. So AI is, or maybe, or it already is faster than most of us at any form of output, right? Sometimes it even produces surprisingly good things. So where do you think we fit in?
Oh, that's why I keep thinking about us. Unfortunately, we live in a world that we live in. Speed becomes equal to money, and that is why we equate ourselves. And because we equate ourselves to money, we equate ourselves to speed, and our value is now tied to what we call efficiency. So if we are not doing everything very fast, like, this is hilarious, because we as humans would compete with each other. Who's going to do it faster? Who's smarter that way? Like, smarter is equal to faster. Now we got the ultimate competitor. No human, not even 10 human, can ever compete with an AI. Like, there is no way. The best mind on earth does not. And what are you going to do now? What is your differentiator? Your differentiator was never speed. Your differentiator was your diversity of opinion. What's the extra you bring to the table? How you're thinking beyond what is very obvious. We just never recognize that because we're stuck in our world of this little thing, this little world that we live in. Let's make it faster, 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 faster. To what end? Now we got AI.
No, but I totally agree with you. And I'll give you an example of my job, because my job as a product manager is coming up with new ideas or improving, something, or solving a problem. And AI has certainly changed my creative process. It has certainly not replaced my creativity. So in the world of product management nowadays, we say that first 10% of all project is free, because now AI can do the first 10%, right? So it can create the first draft of something. I have never liked like a blank page, so that's great for me. And so AI is giving me clay, and then I shape it. That's how I think of it. So I cut what doesn't sound like me. I add my own story. I add my own warmth. I brainstorm, and I don't need to compete with AI on output, and I just need to compete on taste. So in product management, so the advent of with the AI, we are doing so much with it. We're automating flow, but I'm still the decision maker. So that is what I truly like, because I think what I bring is lived experiences. Like AI is so great at generating patterns, but I talk to customers all day long, right? So I bring that human touch that no amount of AI can bring yet. So I think that's my point.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, we are still thinking within the constraint of the job that we have seen always, you
Mhm.
know, and so it's just very hard for anyone, absolutely anyone, the people who are creating these AI tools, even for them to imagine what's next. But to the point of, yes, over time, given enough data points, AI will be able to do most of it. Like, maybe the last 20% will still be something that humans impact, but most of it will be done. What then? But what then is what we don't know, which is interesting, because our jaws would have evolved to think of something entirely different. We don't know what. That's the scary part, but it will. And it's the same thing when cars came. What happened to the carriages? And when machines came, what happened to physical labor? Like, it's literally the same thing, because it's impossible to imagine a world where we're not doing it, because that's all we have seen since we start working. So, yeah, very interesting. But also, we've gone really wide. So, let's try to bring it all together. Let's make it practical. And if somebody was actually listening and thinking, okay, got it, AI is changing everything, what do I actually do? What's the framework? How do we guide them?
All right, so the first one for me is simple. It's not easy, but become AI fluent in 30 days. And I would say just pick one tool, any tool, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. Use it every day for 30 days, not for project work, but for real life, like meal prepping, emails, trip researching, summarizing an article, drafting a hard text. And we have talked about in one of our episodes that all of these tools are also free. Like the free version works great.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
about the next framework that you have?
yeah. And the next one is just double down on human skills. Don't think that you now do not have to learn the things that you would have wanted to learn. Read books, get yourself better, get immersed in art if that's your, do gardening. Again, listen to podcasts, or just get more as much information as you would have, and continue all of that, like critical thinking, communication, meeting people, judgment, the emotional intelligence. Those are our core skills, and those will continue no matter what.
Yes. And the next one that I have for you is build taste on purpose. Taste doesn't come from scrolling, it comes from studying excellent work. AI can generate infinite options, but taste comes from what you choose, and there is no shortcut to that.
Yep. And then the final one is that it is good to protect our real world habits. So whatever your habits that have worked for you, continue doing that. Like for example, for me, I like to write, and I would still like to have the ability and the strength in my wrist to be able to write with my hand. So I literally have notebooks after notebooks filled with me writing with my hand. And that's how I feel like I learned the best and I think the best. I'm going to continue doing it, though it's highly inefficient in the AI world where you can literally talk and get an answer. And I think the same thing could hold true for parents and for kids, which is whatever it is that you are good at, continue doing that. Whatever are your core habits that make you the best at what you are, continue doing that and continue figuring that out.
All
So
right.
basically, we talked about AI fluency, human skills, taste, and real world habits.
All right. I think that is it for it. Like AI is not coming, it's already here, it's already changing work, school, parenting, creativity, relationship, and daily life. So I think there is no need to panic. It's practice. We all can try to become AI fluent, use the tools, learn what we can, and do the best we can, right?
Exactly. And the interesting thing is a lot of people get scared because it feels very technical, but it is not. The whole thing is don't be AI illiterate. And what that means is understand that AI is here and what AI is really, and even that is enough. Like as long as we're not AI illiterate, we're good. We'll figure stuff out.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the future, I think, belongs to people who can use AI without losing themselves to it. So I think that is the core of human value that we bring in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Okay. So I think we're both feeling better with that conversation. I hope everyone listening and watching also did. Please continue to, send us comments and DMs. Your feedback is highly valued. Nidhi and I read it all the time and we just love it. And we have a huge smile on our face every time we read it. So please continue to DM us and engage with us. Send comments either on our YouTube or our other podcast areas, but also we have an Instagram where you can send comments.
All right. See you next time.
See you
Bye.
next time. Bye.